This video has been asked for a lot, and I'm happy to let you guys know me better. First question from Marcus, 21. When are we seeing you next in the octagon, champ? Hopefully, Marcus, I'll be back in there in the next 3 months. I want a 12-week training camp. You know, coming off the last fight, I didn't get a training camp. Didn't train at all. Just showed up because I'm a company man. Love this company more than anything. So now I just want to really make sure that I get a full training camp so I'm at my best, so people can see the real Colby, and we'll beat anybody in the world when we get a full training camp. So, you know, whenever I think the UFC has to find a good opponent, a big name that makes the company business, then we'll get into a 12-week training camp. Bring them all. Second question from Paxton. Any word on the Dustin fight? No word on the Dustin fight. He's been scared of my shadow for years, ever since we trained together at that old gym. You know, the guy just knows what I bring to the table. He knows he can't beat me. He can't even get a lucky punch on me. So he's not even willing to try, like his friend George. You know, at least he tried. You know, Dustin doesn't even want to try. He's going to go into retirement knowing that I owned his soul, and, you know, he didn't defend his family's honor and legacy. So, you know, Dustin's a little cuck. He's Louisiana swamp trash, and he's a pathetic little bitch. Question number 3 from Braden. Would you ever move down to 155 and get the belt down there? You know, I wouldn't, just because, you know, I don't want to have to cut all those chromosomes. I don't want to have a shitty life and just worry about cutting weight all the time. I want to focus on getting better as a martial artist, working on my craft. That's important to me. You know, Islam said some things in the past that he'd move up to 170 to fight me. He doesn't want to fight me. He knows he doesn't match up well. He's just all talk. So I'm not a weight bully. I'm not going to go down to 155 and just weight bully these little kids. I want to fight at my real natural weight class, what I weigh, which is 170. So bring on everybody at 170. I will not be moving down to 155, Braden. Question 4 from Dylan. Who's the favorite fighter you've trained with? Without a doubt, Chael Sonnen. Chael is the greatest mind and fighter that I've ever been around. The guy, the way he approaches the sport, he's just different. He has that mindset. He truly believes. And there's nothing better than the Sonnen system. I got to tell you something about the Sonnen system. It's more than just fighting. It's more than just winning. It's more than a lifestyle. I'm going to tell you step 1 of the Sonnen system, and the biggest thing you can do is just believe. Question number 5 from Matt. When is it time to go to the WWE? I would say probably like 2 years. I want to start really working on my in-ring wrestling and, you know, my crowd-pleasing ability in the next year or 2. And, you know, maybe I'll go up to Orlando and go to the WWE training center, but I want to really start perfecting my craft in the WWE and the wrestling moves, and hopefully I can make a transition in the next year or 2. From Nolan, how do I get a job working for you? That's a tough one. I really don't know. You know, I have some good people that work for me now, and biggest thing with me is loyalty. I'm all about loyalty. You know, I'm not just going to throw people that I work with now under the bus to bring you on because, you know, you're new to school. You know, if you show that you're worthy and you work hard and you bring some creative ideas to the table, you never know. Anything's possible in this life if you believe. So maybe you'll be working with me one day. Keep working hard, keep chasing your dreams, and I'll see you. From Dana, how do I improve my cardio? I think the biggest way you can improve your cardio is breathing techniques. Focus on like your breathing. I think the biggest thing that people have bad cardio is they're not focused on their breathing, you know? In through the nose, out through the mouth, and having good breathing techniques. That's important to be relaxed and making sure that you can push to another level. So, you know, work on the breathing, working on it every day. Every time you're doing something, breathe in. Don't hold your breath, tense up like most people tense up when they're lifting weights, because they just want to be strong. No, the key is you can go longer and harder. So focus on those breathing techniques. Question 8 from the next John Jones. Colby, what was one fight you most enjoyed having? The fight I most enjoyed having was the fight with Robbie Lawler. You know, the first ballot Hall of Famer, the boogeyman of the welterweight division, the guy that no one wanted to fight. And I stepped up to fight on 2 weeks' notice with half my eyelid hanging off. So that's the fight I enjoyed the most, and it's someone that I really respect. I like Robbie. I've trained with him. He's a friend. He's a guy I really looked up to earlier in my career. So that was the fight that I really had the most fun with. Question number 9 from Sammy. Will Colby respond to me? Of course I'll respond to you, Sammy. What do you want me to respond at? Are you in my chat on Twitch? Are you, you know, hitting my DMs up on Instagram? I'll look for you, brother. Question 10 from Amalia. Do you ever talk to your opponent after the fight? No, never talk to my opponents after the fight. It's serious business in there for me. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. So I'm not trying to be these guys' friends. These are real beefs. You know, all the guys that I fought, this is as real as it gets. You know, we hate each other. You know, I'm not going to be friends with them and shake their hand and act like it's cool. No, dude, you're trying to take everything I work for. You know, you're trying to destroy my dreams. And most of the guys I fought have been cheaters, so I can't respect a cheater. Question number 11 from Mark. How big was the culture shock moving from Oregon, then moving to Miami? Oh my gosh, I talk with this all the time. Such a big culture shock. Like in Oregon, people are so genuine, down to earth. It's just a different way of living, you know? It's just so much different than Miami, where it's such a fast-paced lifestyle. You know, what kind of watch are you wearing? What kind of car are you driving? So, you know, in Oregon, you walk around, someone will hold the door open, you ask how your day is going. They genuinely care for you. In Miami, like, they'll bump you in the shoulder and be like, what are you doing? Get out of my way. Like, you're the problem. Big culture shock moving from Oregon to Miami. Question number 12 from Andrew. How does the fight between you and Carlos Prates play out? I don't know. Who's that? How can I know how a fight play out if I don't know who the name is? Question 13 from Jonah. You fight at 170, but what do you normally walk around at? I normally walk out when I'm eating as much as I can, as many carbs and protein as I can, usually like 185. You know, I think when I'm in shape and I'm in camp, I'm usually in like the high 70s or 180. I don't cut weight, you know, it's really just, you know, fighting my natural weight. You know, I'm not like Alex Pereira where he's going to cut 50 pounds to get to middleweight. Like, that's just crazy, man. I don't think that's healthy. I mean, I'm not talking bad about Alex. He's a great fighter. He's done great things in the sport. But like, at some point, you have to worry about your longevity of your health. And cutting 50 pounds, he weighs 235. He was cutting to 185 is just, it's crazy. But that's never going to be me, man. I want to fight in my natural weight class and show my natural abilities. Question 14 from Random Guy. What was your best and your worst moment of your entire UFC career? My best moment was, you know, winning the world title and then saying that I was going to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue to give the world title to the sitting president and the greatest president of all time. By far my greatest moment in the UFC. I mean, there's no fighter in history that's ever went to the White House, let alone Oval Office, and hang out with the sitting president. So that was a historical filled night and it changed my life forever. That was my favorite moment. My worst moment, probably the last fight, just because I didn't get a full training camp and I got robbed of going, you know, to the championship rounds, you know, by a DEI judge. She didn't let me continue when I wanted to continue, and I was starting to wear on the guys. So that's my worst moment. But you know what? They're all good moments. There is no worst moments. I don't really look at a worst moment. I feel like every moment that you have in life, they shape you who you are. They define your character. Question 15 from Simon. Any plans for a trip to England? Dude, that's so crazy. I was just talking with a Mamacita the other day about traveling to England. So that's kind of ironic that you asked me this question. I definitely want to travel to England. I've never actually been to England. Well, actually, I went to London one time as the backup fighter, and that was a great experience, man. The people in London, the crowd at the O2 Arena was electric. I've never met fans that were that passionate about the sport. So, you know, the Scousers, you know, big respect, you know, love the way they live life and how passionate people they are. So I definitely plan to come visit England. Any good spots? Question 16 from Shan. Other than yourself, which fighter do you respect the most in UFC history? Without a doubt, Chael Sonnen. I respect his body of work. The guy is he just works harder than anybody I've ever seen. He's just so diligent in his work ethic. And dude, he's undefeated, undisputed. He's the #1 GOAT of the company. No one's ever won a round off that guy. So the Westland gangster, Chael Sonnen, is my favorite fighter in UFC history. Man, he would take any fight. Didn't matter what weight class. Go up to heavyweight, go up to light heavyweight, middleweight, win all these fights. So there will never be another Chael Sonnen, I promise you that. And question 17 from Shane. Where do you see yourself in 10 to 15 years? You know, it's tough. It's tough to say. You know, I do believe that the best way to predict your future is to create it. So, you know, I see myself maybe as a politician in 10 to 15 years, maybe serving government to help people out. You know, I want to stand up for we the people. You know, these politicians are elected to serve the people. They're not serving the people. They're just serving themselves in their own pocketbooks. So I don't need to serve my pocketbooks. I've already been taken care of and living the American dream because the UFC, you know, gave me this dream and they gave me everything I have. So, you know, I don't need to rob the people and rob the taxpayers of their hard-earned money. So in 10 to 15 years, I want to clean up the swamp, drain all these swamp creatures, all these nasty politicians that are selfish and just communist pigs. So that's where I see myself 10, 15 years, hopefully in politics. And then that was it for this time. See you around. Don't forget to subscribe because I'm here to stay.